Do you know that how the world was created is different from what we humans often think? Today, we will not focus on the common understanding of how the world was created. Instead, we will explore two perspectives that people have about creation that do not reflect the true reality. Uncover the true reality of how the world was formed, and examine how these perspectives affect us, especially as believers. We will also discover what the true reality of creation teaches us. The first perspective: the days of creation. Listen to this carefully. We all know that the world was created in 6 days. On the first day, light was created. On the second day, the sky. On the third day, the land, sea, and vegetation. On the fourth day, the sun, moon, and stars. On the fifth day, marine creatures and birds. And on the sixth day, humans and animals, both domestic and wild. Thus, the 6 days of creation were completed. Now, many people think that the 6 days of creation are equivalent to our regular earthly days, like Monday through Saturday. But the truth is that God's days of creation are not the same as the days we humans live on earth. This is because earthly days were created on the fourth day of creation, when God made the 2 great lights, the sun and the moon, and said that one great light would govern the day, and the smaller light would govern the night. These lights marked the beginning of days on earth. Scripture confirms this in Genesis 1:14, which says, "And God said, 'Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years.'" This verse tells us that it was on the fourth day of creation that God made the 2 great lights, the sun and the moon, which marked the beginning of seasons, days, and years on earth. This shows that the 6 days of creation were not earthly days, but rather days in the spiritual realm. Because if the 6 days of creation were ordinary earthly days, then where did the first 3 days of creation come from? Before the fourth day, when the 2 great lights, the sun and the moon, were created. And yet it is clear that these lights were the source of earthly signs, seasons, days, and years. A question to consider is this: if the 6 days of creation are spiritual and not earthly, then how many earthly days are equivalent to these spiritual days? Well, the Scriptures provide clarity in 2 Peter 3:8, which states, "But, beloved, do not forget this one thing, that with the Lord one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day." This means that the 6 days of creation are equivalent to 6,000 earthly years. What does this teach us? Before understanding its lesson, let's first look at the second perspective. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave your comments below. The second perspective: how the world was created. Many people believe that the world was created in a miraculous way, that all God had to do was speak, and everything would happen suddenly and mysteriously by His command and authority. But this is not the truth. The truth is that, just as you see a large construction project, such as the building of skyscrapers, that's how creation took place. I will provide the Scriptures shortly, but let me inform you about this first. Many people, when reading the Bible, pay attention to and remember the phrase where it is written, "God said," but they are not as attentive to reading, understanding, and remembering the phrase where it is written, "God made." If you read the Bible carefully about creation, you will see that whenever you come across the phrase "God said," you will also find the phrase "God made" in the following verse. Now, let's look at the Scriptures that tell us that after God spoke, He made, and tell you the meaning of the term "made." Genesis 1:6-7. 6. Then God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." 7. So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. Genesis 1:14-16. 14. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." 15. And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so. 16. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. Genesis 1:24-25. 24. And God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind." And it was so. 25. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. These scriptures show us that after God spoke, He made so that what He said would come to existence. The word "made" means to create or form. If it only took God speaking for things to happen, the Bible would not have said God made. By now, you understand that the creation of the world is similar to how a large construction project is carried out. Now, let's look at other scriptures that delve deeper to show evidence that the world was created in a way that mirrors a construction project. And who was leading and guiding this creation of the world? I repeat, who was leading and guiding this creation of the world? Proverbs 8:22-30. The Lord possessed me at the beginning of His way, before His works of old. I have been established from everlasting, from the beginning, before there was ever an earth. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. While as yet He had not made the earth or the fields, or the primal dust of the world. When He prepared the heavens, I was there. When He drew a circle on the face of the deep. When He established the clouds above. When He strengthened the fountains of the deep. When He gave the sea its boundary, so that the waters would not transgress His command. When He marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside Him as a master craftsman, and I was daily His delight, rejoicing always before Him. These scriptures refer to Jesus, showing that He existed before the world was created, and even during the creation of the world, He was there, working on the creation alongside God, with Him being the master craftsman. Picture this. In the days of creation, God and His only Son Jesus had this division of roles. God was like the architect, the chief designer of all the blueprints, determining where everything was to be placed, how it was to appear, and how it was to function. Jesus, on the other hand, was like the contractor or master craftsman, leading and carrying out the work of creation, ensuring everything came to pass just as God had commanded. And that's why verse 30 says, "Then I was beside Him as a master craftsman." I trust that by now you have understood the true reality of how the world was created. Thus, the world was not created in a short span of 6 earthly days as commonly believed, nor was it created effortlessly or magically as we have often thought. Now we know that the views we had about creation were not correct. The question we need to ask ourselves is, how was that incorrect perspective affecting us, especially those of us who believe? Since we did not know the true reality of how the world was created, thinking that all it took for God was to speak and everything happened miraculously, this has affected many Christians, making us merely speakers and declarers of good things. believing that we are creating good things in our lives without taking action. Even many preachers have been telling us, proclaim success over your life, and it will come to you. They even quote scriptures saying, God said, let there be light, and there was, let there be the sky, and there was, let there be the sea, animals, fish, and plants, and all were created by His word. So just as God created the world by speaking, and everything happened, likewise you should declare, and it will happen for you. This has led many believers to keep declaring day by day without seeing results. What we can learn from the true reality of creation is this: speaking alone without acting does not bring results. Declaring alone without living according to the desires of your blessings does not bring success. And for success to happen, it requires time. Let me give you this scripture, which is often misunderstood, and then I will tell you what it truly means. Proverbs 18:20. A man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. From the produce of his lips he shall be filled. Many people end up thinking that this scripture is about the power of the words we speak and their results. That is true, but they miss the deeper meaning of this scripture. Let me explain. This verse doesn't just address speaking, but also action. That's why it says, a man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. The word fruit holds the full meaning of action. We all know that for fruit to appear, there must be a long process involved with the tree, such as watering, pruning, fertilizing, pollination steps, and other actions taken to ensure the plant can bear fruit. So, when the Bible speaks of the fruit of the mouth, this is what it means. A person must first declare and speak good things upon themselves. Then, they must take action based on what they have declared. After putting in the effort, the results that follow are what are called the fruit. This means that what you spoke over yourself led you to take action, and what you acted upon brought about results. These results are the fruit. Therefore, these results are referred to as the fruit of the mouth, and this is the true meaning of this scripture. Therefore, understand that fruit is the result of a process, which means action, and not something that happens merely by speaking. So this verse simply means that a man's stomach shall be satisfied with the actions of their words. If it only meant words, it wouldn't say the fruit of the mouth. It would say the words of the mouth. Therefore, my brothers and sisters in faith, once you declare blessings over your life, start living according to how those blessings require you to live, while following what God leads you to do, giving it time by trusting that the Lord will act at the time He has appointed. Be blessed. If you have learned and been blessed by this message, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Goodbye, and see you again.